ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another great episode of The Stoop, where we talk hoops, hoops, and more hoops. I'm your guy, TJ, and I want to thank everybody for always tuning in and checking us out. We thank you for all your support, man. But before we get into it, you know what I got to do? I got to introduce my player partner, my co-host, co-founder of The Stoop, my man, Kev P. Yo, bro, say what's up to the people.
As always, it's a pleasure to be here. You already know that.
Hey, Kev P, listen, man, we got a special one for you tonight, man. When we talk about high flyers from Bull City, man, listen, he fits every bit of that, man. This guy took his talents to Chapel Hill, and he electrified crowds, man, sitting in that Dean Dome each and every night, man. And then, listen, he got selected to go to the league, but before he did that, he always had to bring back a national championship to the crib. He's had a great 11-year career, both domestically and internationally, and he wreaked havoc for these guys over in Paris, France, and many other places. He returned back to the crib to get his coaching on, and now you'll find him in the G. Ladies and gentlemen, on the Stoop Live today is Mr. David Noel III. Thank you so much, sir, for coming on the Stoop.
Appreciate you. Thank y'all for having me.
Absolutely. So we're going to get into it, man, and start off right away. We want to know when it started for you. So who first put the ball in your hand, man?
Man, honestly, man, I picked that joint up myself. Okay. It was like football was kind of the first love that I fell into, and then basketball just kind of became a natural thing for me. So I actually picked that joint up myself when I was about 9 years old.
Absolutely. So picked it up around 9 years old, but then as you got better with it, at what age do you think you said to yourself, I may be able to do something with this for the future?
You know, it's crazy, man. I was in middle school, and like I told you, football was my first sport. But in middle school, 6th through 8th grade, they don't let you play football when you come into middle school. So 6th grade, you had to sit out. So, and then we got a chance to play like intramural basketball and all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of where the love kind of flourished a little bit. Mm-hmm. But to answer your question, like the day that I felt like I could actually do this for money, they had this carnival at our middle school, and they had this little Papa Shot. And on the little Papa Shot, every basket that you made, you got $1.
Right.
And so I'm on the Papa Shot, and I'm getting it. Getting all the little coins, and look, they man, I probably won. Yeah. So I'm hitting all the little buckets. I got my friends giving me their tickets so I can win them some bread. so it was that kind of deal, right? But by the end of it, like I ended up like cashing out about $150. Whoa. And so, like, right. And for a kid in middle school, especially where I come from, 150.
You came up.
Hey, that's a nice little piece of change. So everything was crazy because, like, so I got all this money, and mind you, they gave it to me all in ones. So I had to take the bread and I hid it in my book bag. So I told my sister, like my sister was going home, I had basketball practice. I said, listen, take this bag, go home, don't stop, don't do nothing, get to the crib. So we finally get to the crib after basketball practice, and I asked my sister, what'd you do with the bag? So we go upstairs, I look in the bag, all the money's still there. So I take it and I give it to my mom's. And my mom started blanking on me. Yo, is you out here selling drugs? What are you doing? So she going ham. And I'm like, nah, Mom, I won this playing basketball. And from that day forward, like that was the kind of thing that stuck out in my mind. And the crazy part about it is, like, I never really had that dream per se to say, yeah, I'm going to the NBA or that kind of deal. It was more so, look, I'm gonna do the best that I can with what I got, with every opportunity that I get, and I'm gonna see where it takes me. But that moment was kind of the moment where I was like, you know what? If I could do something with this, man, it might be pretty sweet. So I enjoyed that moment.
So, to get to the Division I level and then take it to the ultimate level, being a professional, being to a pro, and being to the league, man, it takes determination, it takes hard work. But tell us and tell our viewers, man, what was that one thing that you spent countless hours in the gym working on about your game when nobody else was looking? Maybe it was a left, maybe it was a spin dribble, but what was it for you?
The crazy part about it, man, it was my bounce. Like I wanted to be punching on jokers. And so what I used to do at the crib, like I don't know if y'all remember back in the day, Spud Webb, he came out with these platform shoes. Yeah, with the little platform.
Used to be in the magazines.
Right. They used to be on East Bay. And I used to see them all the time on East Bay. And the crazy part about it is I couldn't afford them. So I made my own. So I took like 4 or 5 old shoes. I cut the front of them off and I duct taped them like a platform around the old shoe. And I just used to walk around them joints thinking it would give me bounce. And I'm doing calf raises on all of the steps in the apartment, squats on each step, just trying to get my bounce up, because I felt like if I was athletic, I was already athletic, but I felt like if I could show that like continuously, then that may get me noticed. And then everything else I kind of worked on after that. If I had to do it over again, I would probably work on the skill part a little bit more than the bounce. But hey, at the end of the day, it got me to a great career. I definitely can't. I'm not ashamed of it at all. So, but that was kind of the first thing that I concentrated on, and then after that, it became ball handling.
Real quick though, it's something about y'all Bull City boys though, man. Like y'all bounces in that water. I think whatever y'all sipping.
Hey. It's something in the water down here now. I'm telling you, we get it done. Bull City, we know what we're doing.
It's definitely done. But go ahead, Kev.
Listen, man, I'm still stuck on my man wanting to get the Spud Webb shoes, because I remember them in the magazines all the time. I wanted a pair too. Yeah. Shout out to my man Simon. He used to walk around on his tippy toes all day long, every day, just so he could get that bounce. But I digress. Back to what we're doing. You grew up in Durham as a Duke fan. Yeah. I'm trying to figure out, how did you end up switching over to UNC?
So
that's
I was highly
blasphemous.
Recruited as a football. It is, but like, so now I tell people I saw the light. You know what I'm saying? Like,
okay.
like, so like growing up in Durham, man, that's like Duke was it. You know what I'm saying? Right. So like that was the pinnacle, and Carolina was just something other than that.
Down the
you know
road.
What I'm saying? So and so what ended up happening was, like, I know people ask me all the time, like, how did I make that switch? It literally happened like when I committed to North Carolina to play football and then ended up walking on in basketball. Like, it literally turned from the day that I got my one card. The one card is your identification on campus. Like, that's how you get your meals and that's how you get in your dorm and all that kind of stuff. The day that I got that joint, I was like, you know what? All right, I'm a Carolina fan now, I guess. Like, it took that long though. Like, I was committed to Carolina for a long time. And I was even on my visit at Carolina. They took us to the Carolina Duke basketball game. And that year, North Carolina was some trash. That was their 8-20 year. And Duke was that Duke was the team. They had Jay Will, Dunleavy, Elton Brand, Boozer, all of them. They was loaded. And so I'm the only cat in the gym going for Duke. I'm going ham in the stands. And they whooping Carolina butt too. But like, so that, everybody looking at me crazy because I'm on a visit, for football for Carolina, but I'm a Duke fan basketball wise. So that's kind of really how the switch happened. Like, I literally was like, all right, I'm here now. So I guess I'll be a Carolina fan. And from that day forward, I was like, I'm gonna ride for Carolina like I used to ride for Duke. So what y'all see me ride for Carolina now, that's what I used to do for Duke.
That's what's up. Listen, as a junior, in a game versus Duke, as you were just talking about, to secure the top record in the ACC, you played an integral part in the victory, largely because you clamped down on J.J. Redick. Believe you held them scoreless in the second half, as well as you had a key steal, 27 seconds remaining in the game. With so much emphasis on scoring, especially amongst the youth, you went back to your alma mater to coach. Did you use some of those instances as a head coach at Southern Durham to say, listen, you ain't always got to put the ball in the bucket to make a difference in the game?
Absolutely. Like, that's, like, for me, like, thinking back to those days, I tell everybody all the time, like, even when we watch those games back, I tell everybody all the time, like, hey, everybody can't be the scorer. Like, you win national championships doing the little things. And so that's what I used to preach to my kids every single day. If you do the little things, then you'll get on the court for me. Like, I kept my first year at Southern, I kept 3 guys on the team. They were seniors. They went out for the team 3 years before that and got cut every single time. And I told them coming into the workouts, I said, listen, if y'all do the little things, y'all could possibly make this team, because I see who gonna be my scorers. I see who gonna be my defenders. I need somebody who's gonna be my glue guy. So those jokers, and I had a couple guys that ended up making the team because they wanted to be glue guys. And I feel like if you have a glue guy on your team, which is who I was for North Carolina for probably 3 out of my 4 years. Well, shoot, 4 out of my 4 years, honestly. Even though my numbers kind of took off my senior year, I always preach that because if you look at every NBA roster, they got glue guys. They got their superstars, 1, 2, and nowadays maybe even 3 guys. But if you're a glue guy, you can do just as many years in the league as a superstar, if not more, for real. So I definitely preach that to my kids on a daily basis at Southern Durham when I was the head coach.
Cool.
Mr. Noel, let me ask a real quick question before we get to the next one. Did you ever think about, becoming the next Julius Peppers by being a 2-sport star while you was on Chapel Hill?
Yeah, that was actually the plan going in. Like, okay. I was the reason why Carolina and Duke were on my list, and really the only 2 schools that I considered was because they had a reputation of allowing their football players to play basketball. So that was really the plan going in, was to play football and then just walk on in basketball and hopefully help out, that kind of deal. But North Carolina was, like I told y'all, they was some trash that year before, that 8-20 year, and then they had so many guys transfer. And actually the coaching staff, it was Coach Doherty, Matt Doherty at the time, they came and watched one of my teammates play because they was recruiting me, but they also saw me too, knowing that I was coming in as a football player to possibly walk on. But they saw what I could do basketball-wise and was like, listen, we need you to play basketball full time. And so that's kind of how that thing even went down.
Got you.
Important for me to say, hey, listen, I ain't give up on y'all. I know I'm gone, but I ain't give up on y'all. I'm still trying to help as much as I can.
Nice. Aside from your duties as assistant head coach with Capital City, a little over 2 years ago, you started a podcast called The Player and the Fan with Kiera Luck.
We did.
What's the genesis of your relationship with your co-host, and how did that show come about?
So me and Kiera met. She actually went to Southern as well, but she was after me. So when I graduated, she came in. And so, and the crazy part about it is, like, we're walking through Northgate Mall. Northgate Mall closed down now, but it's one of the more popular hood malls in Durham. Yeah. And so we walking through, I think it was me, Raymond, Rashad. We came back in Durham, riding through or walking through Northgate. And this girl comes up to me and just thought, oh my God, this is David Noel. And she just started spitting my stats off, like, for the last 3-4 games. And then it was around that stretch where, like, I think my freshman year, I hit Wake Forest for like 14, then hit Duke for 19, then like 13. So I was having a pretty good stretch of run, like, of games. And I'm talking about she spit it all at me. And I'm like, well, dang, well, that's impressive. And so then we got to know each other a little bit over the years, and we kept in touch when she went off to college and all that kind of stuff. And then, like, bringing it back, she became a sports writer with Sports Illustrated, all that kind of stuff. And so then, like, me and her, we got to talking, and I was just like, yo, I want to do a podcast. And she was like, yeah, let's do it. And so she kind of came up with the name and all that kind of stuff. I was like, you know what, I like it. And so what it's centered around, of course, it's centered around North Carolina basketball, but it's more supposed to be about the ACC. It's just we concentrate on North Carolina so much because I can give more of an in-depth look for the fans to speak about North Carolina basketball. But it's something that's been very, very, it's been fun for both of us, and we feed off of each other well. And it's been something that we've enjoyed, especially during this quarantine time. We've been able to have guests on that we normally didn't think we would possibly have, that kind of deal. So it's been fun, man. And shout out to Kiera Luck, because she does a heck of a job behind the scenes, cutting all of that stuff up and making it pretty.
I think it's dope that you guys have, like, a unique thing here going, because as a player or as a fan, from a fan perspective, but you guys have it totally different, where you guys want, as you named the show, a player and a fan. And I think that's pretty unique and pretty dope that you guys are able to work that out.
Most definitely.
Yeah. She like I said, she's been a fan of North Carolina basketball for a long time. But she's very well versed and educated in basketball, or in sports, period. So that's why I think that's why it works so well, because she does actually know exactly what she's talking about. So when we bounce things off of each other, it's a nice little flow.
Amazing. No, Miss Noel, it's a tough thing, man, for people to realize that it takes time, energy, and maybe a particular piece of luck to get to that next level. But you had the ability to do that, man, and persevere through the whole journey. But let's talk about whether it's the round of 64 or 65, man. Talk about, as a collegiate player, some of the things that you didn't know it took to get to not only through a preseason, a non-conference season, conference play, tourney play, and then the big tournament. And then what was it like for you, man, a kid from Durham, to have all that confetti rain down on you in the middle of St. Louis, man? Talk about the energy you felt that day in the building.
Bro, that was love. That was love, bro. Love. Oh my God. If I can go back to that day, man, that was a special day for us, man. But especially like me, being from Durham, being one of I might have been one of the first guys to win a chip. Because I think the guys like Rodney Rogers and guys like that. But like that day was nuts, bro. Nuts.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because we had the feeling, and like you said, it's kind of luck. And then on top of that too, I was a little superstitious at the time. We had never lost in our white uniforms. And going into that, Illinois was actually the number 1 overall seed.
They were.
So which means we supposed to wear blue. They decided to wear orange. And I'm like, ooh, we might get us one. And so it was just a nice little field. The game felt right. Everything just felt like it was flowing together. But through the tournament, like you said, there's a little bit of luck mixed in. There's a little bit of talent mixed in. And there's a little bit of, prayers mixed in too, because I think to win a national championship, to be able to win 6 games in a row against some very, very talented teams, like I think back to the Villanova game that we only won by 1 on a call that could have went either way. Or you think back to the Wisconsin game where it seemed like we were outmatched and we were able to come back and win it. To the Michigan State game in the Final Four where the game was kind of reversed. We hadn't played anybody that ran that type of tempo the same that we did. And I'm talking about, and 2 coaches that don't call timeouts. You're just out there running, gas like a mug. So it was like, through all of that, to get to the national championship game and play against one of the best teams, best college teams for real ever on paper, with Darren Williams, D Brown, Luther Head, like James Augustine, like Roger Powell, like they had a squad, man, and as we did too. But they were kind of pitting it, the talent versus the team kind of deal. But we were able to show that we were just as much of a team as everybody else in the country that year. And to call myself a national champion, it still seems unreal, but I got the ring to prove it, so I'm good.
Yes, you do, man. You are a championship winner. And one thing they always say, man, is old cliche, there's no I in team, but somebody always has to be there to step up in big moments and hit the big shots. And
absolutely.
In 2005, man, you guys came together as a collective. Not only were you a collective, but think about this. There were 6 of y'all off that roster that ended up going pro. There was also 4 first rounders as well. So that means something. And arguably, I've been in conversation with people as a Carolina fan that y'all were the most talented team in Carolina history. If you really, really look at it, think about how y'all was able to come together and work what didn't work, what didn't people see behind the scenes, man? But how did y'all be able to still manage to be a collective to win that year?
The crazy part about it is, man, it started that summer. And I tell everybody this story, like we started holding each other accountable.
Okay.
And that's honestly, I know it seems like something small, but if you start holding each other accountable, the coaches don't got to do it. Like then, so if I see my teammates slacking off, if I see Raymond Felton slacking off, I can say something to Ray, and Ray respects what I say, and he gets to it, and vice versa. If he see me slacking off, he can say something to me. Hey, Dave, pick it up. Now you understand that, like you got to talk to different people different ways. Like you might can just say, hey, Dave, wake the hell up. What you doing, man? Come on, and I can respond. Other people you might have to, you know, baby it a little bit or turn it up a little bit more kind of deal. So, and we found that balance within our team. We had guys who kind of wanted to take the little, you know, the shortcuts, and a lot of guys nipped that in the bud from the summertime. And so everything that we did, we came back and was like, listen, we're going to do it at the highest level possible. We're going to hold each other accountable at the highest level possible. And again, we concentrated on the work each and every day. Will we get better today? And when we get better tomorrow, then we get better the next day. And we continue to concentrate on that. We look up. Now we, 30, I think we were 34-4 that year. Mm-hmm. And now we had the number 1 seed in the tournament, and now it's go time. And from that point on, now it's about putting all of that work that you put in the preseason and throughout the season. And now you just go and roll your hat, man. And like you said, we got lucky a couple games. We won a couple games because of our talent, and we won a couple games because we were a team. And again, call us national champions now.
Absolutely.
Speaking of teams and teammates, we recently had one of your Tar Heel teammates on, Mr. Rashad McCants. He joined us for a show recently. Great show. He expressed his stance in regards to the NCAA using players' likeness and basically using you guys for what they can and not compensating. Mm-hmm. Do you agree with his stance? And how do you rectify that moving forward? Like, what do we do?
So I absolutely agree with his stance. And I've told people this in the past, like, I've always agreed with what Rashad had to say. Like, I always agree with it. Now, the way he went about it, would I have done it that way? Probably not. I may have taken a different path, but I'm not Rashad. So, but I've always respected where he was coming from when it came to that subject. And for me, he is absolutely right. I'm not speaking for anybody else on that team or anybody else, you know, outside in this world. But for me, he was absolutely right. And because you think about it, man, and then after that, you had guys come out, like I think it was Shabazz Napier, saying that he couldn't even eat, like as a college athlete. Right. That's being shown on TV, like he didn't have meals to eat, so that kind of deal. So they have rectified that a little bit as far as, you know, opening up the budget a little bit to provide meals. But again, that's only at more of the bigger colleges. That's at your North Carolinas, your UConns, your Dukes, you know, your Blue Bloods, all that kind of stuff. Your major D1 schools. What about the HBCUs that doesn't have that type of bread? You know what I'm saying? So that, like, I think that's where it kind of comes to this here. I don't know exactly what we can do about it. I've thought about this many times. Like, can you compensate the players? And if you do, like, how does that work? Now, when you compensate the players, do you got to put in a program to teach these jokers about money? Because a lot of us are financially illiterate. So those are the type of things, and which for me, that's absolutely fine. You need to put that in place, because you got these kids that are going off and making these millions that don't know how to handle it. They may not have the background that, you know, other people may have to say, hey, listen, this is what you need to do with your money. This is how you be smart with it, et cetera, et cetera. If you start that in college, if you pay these kids in college and you teach them how to, you know, build a portfolio or know how to write a check or know how to pay your bills, that kind of deal. You teach everyday life skills, and as far as this money management is concerned, then I think it becomes a little bit easier. And again, to say what to put into place, I think that's a good start. How deep will that go? Do you pay a guy at Carolina more than you pay a guy that's at North Carolina Central? Like, so again, I don't really know how that looks, just simply because you got to understand there is a different revenue stream, that kind of deal. Absolutely. So I think there's a way to make it fair, but I think all of the smarter minds have to sit down and make a logical decision. I do like the player likeness and all that kind of stuff, but again, players at Duke and North Carolina are going to be shown way more than players at North Carolina Central and that kind of deal. So I think you kind of gotta. It's never going to be equal. It's never going to be fair, but I think if you work your butt off and you get to one of the highest levels, that could be a recruiting tool for some of these colleges and stuff like that to lure a kid in. Maybe if we can get one of these bigger guys to go down to a HBCU, like that kind of deal. Now that may change the dynamic of some of these situations, but I don't know, man. I think it's a coin toss with how they deal with it, and I hope they can get a situation resolved, but I don't think I have an answer right away.
I think that was
Understood.
big. I think that was big. Hold on, real quick, Craig. I think when the young man Maker went to Howard this year, man, I think that was the most powerful thing. And I don't think people still give it as much light as it is, because that helps to now change the landscape and the dynamic. Because think about it, like the alma mater, like the Michigan State, so many different schools is on that young man's radar. And he stepped up and said, just the same way a lot of dudes in the league now are saying, you know what? I want to get traded over here. I want to choose that guy to play with. I want to form my big three. Well, he said, you know what? I'm gonna go over here and play for HBCU, man. And I appreciate that young man for doing so.
And I absolutely, definitely respect it. The only thing is, I don't think, like you said, it's not getting the attention that it needs. So I feel like, and again, this is just a personal opinion, I feel like it's gonna take more than one. Absolutely. And when I say more than one, I ain't saying one per class. I'm talking about you're gonna need like a Fab Five at an HBCU. You're gonna need like 3, 4, 5 of these jokers to team up and say, hey, we're going down here to FAMU, Bethune-Cookman, North Carolina Central, wherever you want to go to an HBCU, and you're gonna have to let it ride. And you're gonna have to let it ride. And when I say, if you can get that type of talent through the door, and then it becomes successful, now you change the landscape. Like like Maker, that was great. He went to Howard, that was perfect. That's one. Can we get another one? There was a top 40 player that went to where did he end up going? There's another kid who just committed to like an HBCU, but I can't think of his name, but he's like top 40. But again, we need 3, 4 more of them jokers to do it at one time at the same school and run with it. And now you go and play all your blue bloods and that kind of deal. You know what I'm saying? So I think that will make a bigger splash, but I do like the splash that Maker has made. And hopefully we can get some kids to kind of continue to follow that suit.
Shout out to Dion too, because I think Dion's doing it real big at Jackson State, and he's getting a lot of football boys to come play where they wouldn't go. So shout out Dion. Dion is waking people up too. But I'm sorry, go ahead, Kev.
Now, I was getting ready to say I think that's an excellent point, and I do anticipate something like that happening, because especially what we have now with these guys playing AAU, a lot of them are familiar with one another. They talk to one another. Social media makes things a whole lot easier for them to get around. So once one guy starts and they play together and they know what it's like this, I'm going to go over here and mess with this guy because he can ball. Before we know it, we're going to have, as you say, a Fab Five or something like that at one of these HBCUs, and that's going to be the game changer right there.
Absolutely. And whatever city they go to, because we talked about this in Durham, I said, bro, it's got to be, if it happens at North Carolina Central, it's got to be a hands-off policy. Like, this has to work. This is bigger than anybody else. This is the culture that we talking about, that we trying to build up. You know what I'm saying? So if we can get something like that, like it's got to be a hands-off policy. The city got to wrap their arms around these kids and embrace them, lift them up, and help them with everything that they need.
Absolutely.
Great. Listen, as a coach, I want to ask you a question now.
Okay.
Put your thinking cap on real quick.
All right.
If you're the coach at UNC, you can pick your all UNC team, starting 5, plus the 6-man. I'm going to give you the 6-man to throw in there.
Okay.
Go ahead and run that down for me.
That's tough.
That is tough.
Y'all got a lot of...
It's definitely tough. And here's the crazy part, because I'm going to build a team. Like, I think a lot of people do this and they build like the best 5 players. You know what I'm saying?
Right, but you want a team, something that's cohesive.
Yeah. I need a team though. I need a team. I need somebody. Okay. I need. So my PG got.
There's a lot, man. There's a lot. You're talking Derek Phelps. You're talking King Rice. You're talking Shaman. You're talking Jeff.
As tough as this is, you ain't
gonna give it to Ray,
because Raymond Felton is my man. I gotta go with Ed Coder.
That's another one I forgot about.
I gotta go with Ed Coder at the 1. The reason why is because he can facilitate everything that we need. So at the 2, I need a shooter. At the 2 spot, I gotta go with Rashad McCants. The Joker was an absolute bucket.
Oh yeah,
he's an absolute bucket. Probably the greatest offensive talent that I've played with by far, no question. At the 3 spot, I gotta go Vince. Gotta go Vince.
Okay.
4 spot. 4th spot, I'm going Antoine Jameson.
Okay.
Over Rick?
Yeah.
Over Rick?
Over who? Rick who? Fox?
Yeah.
Yes, I'm going Twan over Rick Fox.
Listen, man, this is this man's list.
I'm a Carolina fan.
Right. It's my list.
And Big Smooth over Big Smooth too.
That's how jokers do when you put your list out. Bro, you going over there? Yeah, this is my list.
Yeah, this is his list, man. Let him rock out. Go ahead, fam. So
I'm going Ed Coder, Rashad McCants, Vince Carter, Antoine Jameson, and I'm going Brad Daugherty at the 5.
Okay. You took
Brad
one
Daugherty.
real old head out the
Yeah. You gotta get your old head. Mind you, he was -- 1 pick in the draft now. So,
yeah,
you know
of course.
Like Brad was that guy at North Carolina now.
Indeed. Indeed. And now who you got coming off the bench is your 6th man?
Michael Jordan.
That's crazy. Listen, this is your list though, so I'm not gonna argue. But now I'm
but
gonna
that's
make you think even harder. Now I'm gonna make you think even harder.
Okay.
You're down 3. You're down 1. 3 seconds left on the clock.
Yep.
Now you already said you're putting MJ in, so I'm assuming this is the guy. So we're gonna use him as the decoy.
Mm-hmm.
Who are you drawing the plays to take the final shot for?
I'm going inside. If I'm down 1, I'm going inside the Brad.
Okay, you going inside.
I got a chance to get in the bucket and getting fouled. And he was a decent free throw shooter, so I like my chances in that. I'm drawing something up. Give me a back screen. He's sealed in the middle of the paint. We throw it straight to him. He turn around, punch that thing.
Fair enough.
Yeah. My man TJ sick at my list.
Nah, because here's the thing. Are we talking about just, hey, Miss Noel, we're gonna bring you back and have a Carolina, or invite me on y'all show, because I'm a Carolina fan, because I'm gonna be honest with you. Are we talking about collegiate careers at the 5? Collegiate careers, not pro, collegiate.
Yeah.
Eric Montrose. At the 5.
Again, okay.
At the 5.
For real, so like that, like for me, I'm looking for length, I'm looking for height. I'm with you with Eric Montrose, but like if that's the case, you can go Tyler Hansbrough.
And Psycho T was another one.
Right. He's really the best player. Like,
he's the best
wise to play in North Carolina. But again, I told you what I'm building now. I'm building a team.
Listen, but North Carolina's so deep, you could play this at damn near any position where you could insert somebody else, because I can sit here and go, how the hell did James Worthy not make this squad?
All day, for sure. No question about it.
He even give my man George Lynch a big smooth at the 4. He
could have gave it to Perkins.
I could.
Big Smooth. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, Big Smooth. I could have.
Big Smooth at the 4.
Hey,
Big Smooth had a better career.
You talking a 2-time National Player of the Year. Like Twan, man. Twan was an absolute bucket at Carolina.
Absolutely,
yes, Lord. Yes, Lord.
Absolutely.
He had a great career in the NBA too.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what I'm saying? So, and again, I was going based solely off college. Solely off college.
As you should, yes.
That's listen.
Let me get always the one knocks on my list, man.
Let me get to my list, man, because my man Marcus Page didn't get a nod at the 1. And Marcus Page
I look. I want a shooter. I want a shooter at that jump, but
and that lefty. All right, let me get back. My fault, Miss Noel. Let's get back to business. Listen, the last 24 months and today we made history, and shout out to Kamala Harris being our first African woman, a woman of color, become vice president of this nation. But the last 24 months have been crazy. And if you think back to 2016 when Colin Kaepernick took a knee, everybody was up in arms and didn't really understand the impact that he wanted to do with his statement, and being somebody to say, we're going to push content forward in terms of social injustices, racial injustices, and police brutality. Now we fast forward to the last 24 months. As a person who's a part of the NBA fraternity of brothers, as a player and now a coach in the G, what do you think about the bubble? Did the NBA and also the WNBA, did they get it right? And where does this social impact messages, well, not only the league, not only the WNBA, not only NFL, but what type of impact and platform does sports have moving forward to help get things in the right perspective?
First off, I definitely think the NBA and the WNBA got it right. With the bubble, I think it was a great. It was great to see. It gave us a chance to have some sense of normalcy inside of such a chaotic time, and to see the women competing and fighting for equality and taking knees and wearing shirts and names on shirts and all that kind of stuff. And also from the male side, the Black Lives Matter, people protesting the way that they want to protest. And even if they didn't, their voice is still heard. So I'm a firm believer in just because you don't believe the same thing that I believe don't mean you wrong. But if we're going to talk about it, let's at least talk about it respectfully, that kind of deal. So I absolutely love what the NBA and WNBA did with the bubble. As far as moving it forward, that's really going to be up to the people of the United States of America. And as tough and as sad as that is, it is. I think it is a time for everybody to sit down and reflect on just the normal, like the bare minimum of how you look at other people.
Right.
Like, I really think it is that simple. And if you have any type of hatred or bias or in your heart towards somebody because of the color of their skin, or like my pigmentation is dark and yours is light, and so you have a problem with me, I can't fathom that. I can't fathom not liking somebody because of the color of their skin. But again, I didn't grow up that way. So I think we have a lot of people who have to kind of reprogram their minds to realize that the America that we live in is very, very much biased. It's very, very much racist. It's very, very much not the country that everybody thought it was, or it is the country that we thought it was, and that it needs to absolutely change. You know what I'm saying? So I think when it all boils down to it, for me, I was a fan of what Kaepernick did. I felt like he did it in a respectful way. I didn't necessarily like the media that drove a different narrative than what he was trying to speak. All of the people that went against him at the beginning, I really want to call people out kind of deal. But now they out there taking knees and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like if you wasn't with that man at the beginning, don't try to be with him now.
Right.
Like that was my thing. Like, don't be a hypocrite. Especially when Donald Trump called all of the NBA or NFL
Sons
players something, and then they all went down there and yeah,
that was
they kind of and because a lot of them same people were the same people talking about Colin Kaepernick. You know Absolutely. What I'm saying? But now you can kneel now. So again, keep that same energy, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like that's all consistency. I'm a huge fan of consistency. If you consistent, then I'm all for it. But I think this is a great time. We're coming out of, like you said, the last 24 months have been hectic. Like, you got people that unemployment is at one of the highest rates ever. But today was a great day for the country. We have a new president. We have the first African-American female as the vice president of the United States. And I just think that hopefully they'll get a chance to improve upon some of the things that this nation needs. Mm-hmm. And honestly, I'm a realist. Everything that Donald Trump did wasn't bad. Was he the right guy for the job? Absolutely not. But I hope that they can take some of those things and build off of it and say, hey, we are a one nation, and we can kind of, float this thing like that. And hopefully it comes for something over the next 4 or 8 years.
Well said.
Definitely. Well, listen, to Mr. David Noel, man, we want to thank you for pulling up to the Stoop today, man. We appreciate you accepting the invite, and we definitely appreciate all your comments and the jewels that you dropped, man, and just giving things from your side of town, man. Listen, we wish you all the best, man. We hope that the G gets off to a season this year, and best of luck as a new coach, man. We really appreciate you.
You and me both, brother, and I definitely appreciate y'all having me, man. This is absolute fun, man. Thank y'all again.
No problem. For my guy, Kev P., our special guest, Mr. David Noel, I'm TJ. Thank y'all for tuning in for another episode of The Stoop. We'll catch you soon. Take care.